Do you ever notice that most settlements in Fallout 4 live with trash piles everywhere and aren't cleaned up after 200 years? Well, here's the goal for this Covenant build.
You're my world, you're the song I sing, you're my guiding light, you're everything, you're my star, you're a diamond ring, you're my miracle, you're everything. You're everything on earth, the once in a lifetime dream. When compared with Venus, you reign supreme. You're my heart, you're the first of spring. You're my happiness, you're everything.
Welcome to my Covenant build. It's done with no mods, but I have like a bajillion creation clip content installed. I made this on a test save because I have CC installed, and because most playthroughs, I'm not seeing the Pearly Gates brother, this place gets bombed back to the Stone Age. But I just didn't want to spend time cleaning up bodies and dealing with the turret debris. And this build focuses more on the theme aspect than any building or story concept. In terms of building space, Covenant only allows you to build like a little bit past the concrete barricade, so the build ends up being kind of a condensed village of sorts. Since the settlement space is limited, these 5 buildings were really the only structures that I could fit in organically and without making it seem too cramped inside. You'll notice that from the entrance all the way to the house at the right, I didn't really build anything, and in fact I scrapped the big tree in the middle, and that's because I wanted to preserve the open air neighborhood feeling.
The theme of Covenant is really fixating on that clean pre-war aesthetic, specifically mid-century modern, which is a design movement popular primarily during the 50s and 60s. Mid-century modern, or MCM, in the context of interior design, generally emphasizes simplistic line shapes and bright accent colors, which often gives off a retro feeling. I like to go a little bit more into Fallout's aesthetics in another video because I think it's a really interesting idea, but just for the sake of this video, I just want to emphasize how much MCM has an impact on the decor of Fallout 4, and this Covenant build specifically. This Covenant build is not just about abandoning the scrappiness and survival style settlement aesthetics that you really see in other builds, or really even catering to like a modern
Concept of cleanliness, it's really about preserving that saturated, campy retro feel of the 1950s. So here we can see the difference before and after. You'll notice how much saturated color is popping out of everything. So the chairs, the table, the vase, and the pre-war packaged food, it's all undeniably campy. I tried my best here to utilize as much space while maintaining an open look. For example, the space between the houses and the barricade is converted either for storage or an outside restroom. Now, as a fun challenge for you, the next time you watch a settlement build video, just look for a toilet, because it is probably the biggest nitpick for me. This cabin is built on top of the original plot of crops, but I incorporated new gardens that you'll see later. The cabin was built primarily with the Modern Furniture CC pack, so if you're looking for a cleaner look or for whatever reason you're not building with mods, I recommend that pack. That being said, don't spend money on Creation Club, just grab them whenever they go free. I converted this open space into apartments, but the height issue can be kind of tricky. So basically I had to place support floors high enough so that the bushes don't stick out too much, but also low enough so that I could place a second story. And you'll see the result of that in a little bit. Utilities in Covenant are handled differently than in my other settlements. Earlier I mentioned that the original plot of crops was built over, so I made additional garden plots around. And I like these gardens because they act both as domestic home gardens as well as food production. Water is supplied by these water towers from the Capital Wasteland Creation Club, and I like these towers because it adds to the settlement skyline. They also cover up the smoke from burning turrets, which brings me to the turrets. So easily the worst part of Covenant are these turrets, and if they ever get destroyed, you can never repair them without mods, so they end up as smoking piles of debris, which in my opinion doesn't fit the aesthetic of the place. So a solution I propose is pillar glitching a half wall in front of the turrets. And the reason you would want to do this is so that it covers the line of sight for the turrets, so enemies can't shoot back. But don't do what I did, don't use glass. I only use glass here because it looks nice. So use the metal or barn walls because glass doesn't block out any vision or gunfire. Covenant also has a neighborhood watch to help defend against threats. But I'm gonna be honest with you, Chief, these clowns absolutely get wiped in a fight, and frankly it's embarrassing to watch this Weenie Hud Jr.'s ass of a settlement try to fight anything heavier than a bloatfly. And that's why this is a concept settlement, not an actual build. But overall, I'm happy with how the utilities have been incorporated in the build and that they really don't detract from the theme. Anyways, the second apartment here is built with vault pieces, which in my opinion looks less out of place when it's stacked on top of another structure. And I also appreciate the blue finish outside the building. It gives off that saturated color. Touching back on that height issue, I have enough height space to snap vault rooms together, but I can't place anything on walls past a certain point, but there are non-ceiling lights to help with lighting, so this isn't too much of an issue. Oh, and by the way, if you'd like to know the origins of any object in this build, just comment with the timestamp. I know vanilla builders are probably not familiar with all the Creation Club items. And just because I'm on the topic, don't expect CC objects in future builds except for like one. I think they add too many clean objects that I otherwise wouldn't use in my scrappy settlements. And that's why this specific build is on a test save, so I can install and uninstall Creation Club here without it touching any of my other saves. Okay, so now it's time to talk about my favorite aspect of Covenant, which are the neighborhood folks who live here. Because of how open and small this location is, the NPCs are allowed to walk around freely without any hiccups in their navigation. So as you can see, Covenant has a lot of animation markers spread across, which makes the place more immersive in my opinion. This isn't a settlement where people will clump around, get stuck, or stand completely still. It's very much an interactive space for the settlers. And of course, there's plenty of pre-war clothing for settlers to dress the vintage part, and there's even a couple outfits from Creation Club. Okay, let's take the time to introduce everyone living in Covenant.
My happy heart keeps laughing like a clown. I love the dear hearts and gentle people who live and love in my hometown.
We love the dear hearts and gentle people who live in our hometown.
Because those dear hearts and gentle people will never, never let you down.
They read the good book from Friday to Monday. That's how the weekend goes.
I've got a dream house I'll build there one day with picket fence and rambling road. I feel so welcome each time that I return, that my happy heart keeps laughing like a clown. I love the dear hearts and gentle people who live and love in my hometown. So I'm going home, going home. I'm glad I'm going home.
I wish I made something creative for my boy Deezer, but I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do, so I just left him stuck here. And it's ironic because I literally use him in most of my builds. This is another area where you can fit a single room in. Here the residents can get their clothes cleaned, and inside they can clean themselves in the showers. I would say that having a washroom is important because not many settlements in the Commonwealth depict hygiene in any way. I made the showers using conduit pieces plus a logic gate for shower knobs. And here we have the mayor's house/office, and again you can see how a change in furniture and lighting can really change the aura of the room. And here in the mayor's personal quarters, we have a rather incomplete collection of unique picture frames. Now, I have a more complete collection in another build that I wanted to show off, but here I just wanted to kind of show off the collection in this bookcase from the Noir Penthouse Creation Club. Right above the guard station is a platform that holds a patio area, an extra garden, and some arcade machines. If you look to the right, you'll see that I managed to clip some floors into the house, which seems impossible without mods or console commands, but the trick is to simply pillar glitch a floor and a pillar and place it from the doorway, which allows for easy clipping. And from there you can build the entire second story through that floor piece. This vault structure is the manufacturing room, as I imagine Covenant as being able to produce their own products, such as food, cleaning supplies, and clothing rather than scavenging for old items. I converted Penny's general store into a diner where the residents can eat and hang out. Here, the Nuka-Cola CC pack really helps with the 1950s style diner aesthetic. You can see that I placed some furniture that helps attract the settlers to come in frequently. And of course, Penny still has a general store vendor list, but I also have a food stand vendor here. It's a little bit tricky, but you can group select a vendor stand through this wood counter. And of course that's Takahashi, who I bring to most of my settlements. I'm not entirely sure how he got up there, but the clues were made visible. Inside the diner through the door is the clinic. Dr. Montgomery is a sick puppy, and she be giving me the creeps. Like, you can see it in her eyes, buddy. Like, she knows something we do not. And this little rascal is Dora. She's a lot more animation than a typical house cat, and one of the things that she likes to do is jump on the counter and hang out. She also knows how to open doors, which you'll see in a second. The entrance of Covenant has doors that automatically close after a couple seconds. This inspired me to use the automatic closing door from the Slocum Joe's CC pack, since many residents come and go frequently. And here we have Talia's workshop, where she fixes up and maintains Covenant. It doesn't look all that different from what it originally looked like. Talia is my favorite resident here at Covenant because she's a little anxious and jumpy, and she's really going through it, so she's like me for real. Up here is a little lounge area with books, a pool table, some exercise bikes, and a view of the lake. Personal headcanon, they find a way to decontaminate the radiation in the water so the residents can have beach days where they can lay around or go swimming in the lake. If you have mods installed, that's probably an easy idea to implement. So that's the end of the tour. The last couple of minutes are just showing how the settlers like to group and hang out after their work shift is over. But I do hope you enjoyed the tour. I have a big settlement coming up next.
Honest, I do. I really want you. No one but you. I really need you. Honest, I do. I need your kisses both night and day. Please say you'll take me in your own little way. I really love you. Honest, I do. Both night and day. Oh, how I pray you come to me and you would say, I love you, darling, with all my heart, and I hope that we will never part. Oh, I really love you. Honest, I do. I really want you. No one but you. I really need you. Honest, I do.
Enjoy your stay.